welcome to Rogers TV, home of your Western Mustangs. Patrice Withen here, alongside Danielle Nezel, and we're here at Alumni Hall on the beautiful but a little bit snowy UWO campus. If you don't have to go out today, stick around with us. We've got your Western Mustangs women's basketball team taking on the visiting Lakehead Thunderwolves in today's OUA West semifinals.
Now, both these two teams met earlier in the week. They split a two-game mini-series, but really the story today, Patrice, is the two starting point guards for both teams. Amanda Anderson with Western, what a tremendous career she's had. It's her 5th season. If Western loses this afternoon, it will be her last game. She's the leading scorer. And Tasia McKenna for Lakehead, she's coming off a 26-point effort last week against Laurier. So both these girls are excellent, excellent athletes. It should be very exciting to watch them duke it out today.
Absolutely, Danielle. We'll see which player really steps it up in today's game to lead their team to a victory, and of course the OUA West Finals next week.
Absolutely. Now, before the opening tip-off, we're going to see what games are going on this afternoon. Patrice?
Ottawa will be at Carleton this afternoon at 3 p.m., and then Brock will take on Windsor. That'll be at 7 p.m. tonight, and the winner of the Brock-Windsor game will take on the winner of today's game here at Alumni Hall, either Lakehead or Western.
Now we're going to take a look at the OUA West playoff tree. Lakehead moves into the playoffs with their first postseason victory since 1999. They beat the Golden Hawks in the OUA West quarterfinal game. Western finished their season 17-5. They clinched a playoff bye on February the 19th with a victory over Lakehead. And Brock and Windsor are duking it out today, and the winner of that game will take on the winner of this afternoon's game here at Alumni Hall.
Now we'll take a look at the Eastern playoff tree. The Carleton University Ravens women's basketball team made history on February 20th, beating the University of Toronto Varsity Blues in the OUA East semifinal matchup with a score of 68-46. With the win, the Ravens will advance to the OUA East Final for the first time in the women's basketball program's history. With the University of Ottawa GGs winning the other semifinal game against Ryerson with a score of 84-74, the stage is set for a really exciting OUA East Final between the crosstown rivals.
And now we have the opening tip-off for you. We'll send it over to all the action with Greg Layson and Kevin Gordon. Gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much, Patrice and Danielle. The weather outside is frightful, but the basketball inside is sure to be delightful. Greg Layson, Kevin Gordon bringing you all the OUA quarterfinal action from Alumni Hall this afternoon. Great to have you back on the broadcast, Greg.
Well, it's great. It was a bit of a frightful drive, but we made it down from Guelph. I'm glad to be here. You can't beat OUA playoff basketball, men's or women's. Should be a good game here today at Alumni Hall.
Lakehead making the long trip into London for this one. We'll be talking lots about that. These two teams very familiar with one another, having played each other last weekend up in Thunder Bay. Certainly familiarity can breed confidence, in particular perhaps for the underdog team coming in, which we talked about off air in the pregame, and we'll be sure to touch on that over the course of the game. Going to take a look now at the keys for the game, and I know you and I, Greg, are thinking much along the same lines here. One of the big things that we have to be concerned with here, if we're the Lakehead Thunderwolves, is not letting the moment overwhelm us.
No, exactly. I think you need to live in that moment, and if you're the Lakehead Thunderwolves, you now know you can win a playoff basketball game, something they haven't done in 11 years. Now they know they can. They come in here and say, it's just another basketball game.
We're going to get back to the keys to victory in just a moment, but we're going to step away and take a pause now as we rise for Canada's national anthem.
True
Once again here at Alumni Hall, OUA West semifinal action here in the women's basketball, the playoff picture. We've already taken a look at it. One of these teams will fight to live tomorrow. One of them will have their season ended, and if Western is to have anything to say about it, they're the ones who will continue to play on this year's playoffs, and if they're going to do it, one of the first things they've got to take care of is the rebounding situation.
Rebound and box out, it's pretty simple. You have to do both in order to win this basketball game. You look at the last time these two teams met, and the rebounding margin favored Lakehead 47-21. Nobody's going to win a basketball game being out-rebounded that badly.
And for those of us viewers who tuned in on Wednesday night to the men's basketball playoff game here at Alumni Hall, you saw a team in the Laurier Golden Hawks come in here and utterly take control of the glass to the tune of 20-plus offensive rebounds. We see a number like that today, and there is simply no chance that Western can walk out of here with a win. However, on the flip side of that, both teams present one of the stronger shooting lineups in Ontario.
Both these teams, some of the best three-point shooters in the country. Players with over 40% field goal percentages from beyond the three-point line. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a high-scoring game because of that. It's so hard to limit 2 or 3 or 4 three-point shooters, and both these teams have the ability to put the ball in from behind the arc.
Certainly a couple of teams that stack up very well head-to-head. We'll take a look at that in a few minutes for our fans at home, but let's set those starting lineups for you. On the court for the Thunderwolves. At the forward position, Emily Ross, the third-year player out of Thunder Bay. Lisa Stiles at the guard, fourth-year player from Nova Scotia. Sarah Gordon on the wing, fourth-year player out of Halifax. Lindsay Drury in the post from Smithville, Ontario. And rounding out the starting lineup, the name that you are going to hear all afternoon, Tasia McKenna, fourth-year star point guard from Timberley, Nova Scotia, and the absolute leader of this Lakehead team. For the Mustangs, starting on the court this afternoon in the post, Caitlin Letty. Joining her out there, Molden, Park, Self, and Miss All-World Amanda Anderson, one of the favorites for the OUA Player of the Year award.
If I had an MVP vote, it would be Amanda Anderson, hands down.
Anderson and McKenna, certainly the two whose names will be called upon to lead their respective squads this afternoon, but stepping to the line in the early going, Sarah Gordon with an opportunity to open the scoring for Lakehead, and perhaps a result of the long travel. There is a miss on the opening free throw attempt of the game. Gordon 1 for 2 from the line. Lakehead gets the first of the game. Not quite as important as we hear in the hockey games, which for some reason seem to be a big deal of late. However, still opening the scoring, key to coming out with a good run early on. And there's the second half of starting off strong, opening turnover defensively.
I like the fact that Western tried to get the ball into Lauren Park's hands early. I think she could be an X factor in this basketball game, a complete skill set inside and out. And if Lakehead is going to focus on Amanda Anderson and Caitlin Letty, somebody else has to step up.
There's McKenna launching the long two. Letty with the rebound. McKenna certainly no stranger to the arc. Letty now, talk about stranger, pushing the break. Anderson settles at the arc. Penetration finds Molden up top. She'll reset, run the half-court offense. 12 on the shot clock. Molden takes it right into the body of Drury. Knock it down. Mustangs with their first lead of the ballgame.
Good start for Molden. She's been banged up of late down the stretch, and it's nice to see her to come into the playoffs and get involved early.
Coming off the wing, that was number 13, Sarah Gordon, taking the attempt for Lakehead. No good. Self now penetrating right side, puts one up, looking for contact, but gets the drop.
Amazing athleticism by Self. She has such long arms and such good ball control, such a skill set. You wish or you wonder what this team would be like if she had played all season for the Western Mustangs. Such a great addition to this team.
A transfer out of Troy, Jacqueline Self wearing number 13. Certainly great things ahead for her in the purple and white on the last play. That was McKenna seeing something different, and teammate Lisa Stiles, miscommunication there, threw the ball away. Parks now surveying the defense. Molden, left side, throws it off of Drury. 7 seconds on the clock. Mustangs will inbound. You mentioned there, Greg, that Kelly Molden, the point guard for the Mustangs, still playing with some lingering effects of an injury. I did ask Coach Barry before the game, do you have any players who are playing less than 100%? Given the fact that, of course, at this time of year, nobody's 100%. And he did say that certainly one player who will be down a little bit the rest of the year is Kelly Molden, still suffering lingering effects of an early season injury. Molden in the corner, hoping not to feel it there. And Parks rips the ball away from Drury. Extra possession early. Self from the arc. In and out, no good. Mustangs doing a good job getting after the O-boards.
Well, we talked about it. Keys to victory. Half the rebound for both these teams, really. And Western lost that rebounding edge last time these two teams met, so looking to maybe redeem themselves on the glass here today.
Anderson gets a piece. Drury, high post, up and over top of Letty. Letty with a soft challenge on that one.
Drury, such a good shooter, averages a double-double for the Lakehead Thunderwolves.
Self takes a screen from Parks. Letty, nice seal in the post. Right side for Self, contact, no call. Playoff basketball, you can expect the officials to let the girls settle it out here today. Gordon from the arc, drop it down. Sarah Gordon.
Sarah Gordon got the block on the far end, or at least got a piece of the ball, and then comes back and knocks down a three. Gordon, a 40% three-point shooter, knocks one down from back there. We saw her go inside early. I think I'd prefer to have her outside on the arc.
You mentioned it earlier, Greg. We could see the sprinklers turned on here today, and absolute rain buckets. There's Letty inside, dropping one with the left hand. 6-6, 3 minutes into this semifinal action here at Alumni Hall. Becky Williams, stud freshman for the Mustangs, getting set to check in. Here's Gordon penetrating from the wing. They seem to like the Gordon-Self matchup out there. Drury front iron, no good. Letty clears the board. Here is Self, happy to run that point forward position. Letty on the interior, one-on-one with Drury, up and under move, left hand.
That is an unbelievable battle brewing on the block. I think Caitlin Letty is more athletic than Drury, but Drury has a couple inches in height, so it's going to be interesting to watch those two work against each other on both ends of the floor.
Certainly these two Warriors will be going at it in the paint today as we see the double come on Drury. Molden dropping down. Penetration right there, up and off the glass, no good. That was Stiles coming up short. Molden now to push. She's got Self, she's got Anderson. And McKenna there making a choice, ran right out to the arc to guard Anderson, virtually giving up the lane to the basket. Self able to convert on the with the assist from Molden.
I suppose the only thinking is you saved yourself a point with Amanda Anderson out on the three-point line. Give up two instead of three.
Darned if you do and you're darned if you don't when you've got Self and Anderson running a break with Molden. Coming in right side, offensive foul on Emily Ross. Good step in there by the Mustangs D, and the Mustangs coming with a line change here. 4 subs coming in, Malin, Williams, Moss, and Rondinelli. Countering for the Thunderwolves, coming in number 21, Jackie Nakamura.
Nakamura takes out Ross. Ross just charged with that offensive foul. What a great job by Caitlin Letty to get her feet set and take the brunt of Ross's attack at the basket.
Anderson remains on the court. Williams in to run the one. Watch out for Rebecca Moss at the arc, but there is a good steal by Gordon, right side, no contest. That pass telegraphed by the freshman playing her first OUA playoff action. Will be interesting to see how Williams and Rondinelli, speaking of the two, there it is, up and down. They've been doing that for a couple of years, playing club ball together. Be interesting to see how those two react to the first playoff action, but if early indications hold true, they are going to be very comfortable over the next 40 minutes.
Bad pass and then recovered. Nice poise shown by those two.
And Drury right there going right at the rookie Rondinelli. Rondinelli whistled for the contact on the shooter. Coming into the game for the Thunderwolves, number 4, Karina Bruni.
And there you see a freshman in guarding one of the best players on this Lakehead team. And we saw Letty down there the last time she was guarding her. Actually did a nice job. So Rondinelli coming in and learning what it's going to be to play against someone as good as Lindsay Drury.
Mustangs featuring a really athletic lineup out there right now, Greg. We notice that they've got Rondinelli in for the post, and then 4 terrific shooters surrounding her right now with Malin, Anderson, Moss, and Williams. None of them allergic to putting the ball up from anywhere on the court. Anderson leading the break for the Mustangs.
See, when you're Western, you can go and put out some younger players when you have someone like Amanda Anderson out there to run the show.
Terrific post-entry pass by Moss. Rondinelli unable to convert. That's good defense by Drury. Nice stretch pass for Nakamura. Can't corral it in time. 3-pointer up, no good out of the hands of Bruni. Gordon, no good. Offensive boards aplenty for the Thunderwolves. Gordon for 3. Splash the mesh. And it's a tie ball game, 12 apiece, 4.5 to play.
Well, you talked about rebounding off the top. No box out there. That's why the Lakehead Thunderwolves got second and third opportunities. Rebecca Moss simply looked at the basketball rather than finding a body on the initial shot.
We talked about rebounding being a key, living in the moment, a key. There's a steal there by McKenna, not feeling any pressure of a playoff scenario here. A little bit of an errant pass on the break. Lakehead forced to settle for the half-court offense. Missed opportunity there. Bruni off the screen from McKenna. Nakamura from the arc. That's short, no good. Terrific box out inside Rondinelli.
Just going to say a much better job by the Western Mustangs finding a body and boxing them out.
Amanda Anderson forcing the action, creating the opportunity to score with the clock stop. She's going to the line for a pair. Coming in for the Thunderwolves, Shannon Valinga, the 6'1", fifth-year player out of Thunder Bay, coming in again for the Thunderwolves. One of the starters who had a quick rest, Emily Ross, back in. Parks back in for the Mustangs, along with Letty, providing that interior presence once again for the Mustangs.
No break on the box outs if you're the Western Mustangs. Valenga comes in averaging more than 8 boards per game off the bench. So substituting in someone who can actually go in and get the job done, you have to keep your head about you. You have to find bodies. You have to box out if you're the Western Mustangs. It doesn't get any easier the deeper you go down the Lakehead bench.
Now Lakehead, Greg, doing exactly what we thought they needed to do, get after those offensive rebounds, create some extra possessions for yourself as Jackie Self checks back in. But what about the pace of play right now? A pretty up-tempo game, I'd say, right now. Is that going to favor Lakehead coming off that long trip or the home team in Western?
Well, I think it favors Western, one, because they're deeper, and two, they might be a little more athletic. You mentioned that lineup with Amanda Anderson out there and then 4 athletic guards. I think they can run the floor with that. Maybe that's what Steph Barry was doing. If they're going to pressure, we're going to get out there and try and run and beat the press before it sets up.
Looking for Valinga inside. Spins middle, nothing brewing there. Letty and Parks collapse the D, and the shot clock goes off. No shot there. Mustang possession on the sideline.
You know, you mentioned that lineup, and then look out there right now, and you have Self and Parks and Letty on the floor. That is a completely different style of team than the players who just subbed off. That was sort of an all-guard, run-and-gun kind of team. Western, it's like you have to prepare for 2 teams when you play the Western Mustangs.
This, the all-big lineup here, essentially. Self at 5'10", Letty and Parks, the 6-footers. And with that foul, it's going to be Mustang possession on the side. 3 fouls on the visitors already. 3:15 to play in the opening quarter. Mallon to inbound. Look out for Self on the baseline. There she is. Self working that left side. And there is Bruni getting her hand on the ball. Mustangs uncharacteristically sloppy here in the early going. The Thunderwolves playing those passing lanes. McKenna, front iron, no good. Mallon, weak side rebound. She'll push. There's Mallon, finds Self. Self gets her man in the air. Left side, lots of contact, no call. Coach Barry can't believe it.
Wait here, we need a shot clock reset.
And here we have the official stop and play, reset the shot.
Well, first, the story of this game so far has been Lakehead's defense. They've come up with at least 3 steals to date, and they've been very good at getting their hands in the passing lanes. Second, Jacqueline Self, the last time you and I did a broadcast, we described her as the Scottie Pippen of perhaps OUA women's basketball, and she really is. Just the way she has such a threat from the corner and then has the ability to get to the basket in 1 or 2 dribbles. She is so difficult to guard.
Jackie Self able to play the 1, 2, 3, or 4 spots for Western. Parks with a tough right hand, no good. Valinga clears the board. And here is McKenna, pushes up for Bruni. She'll work against Molden, who's checked back in for the Mustangs. Molden, one of the faster guards you'll see in Ontario. Valinga inside, and she's able to draw the contact. She's going to the line for a pair.
Valinga knew exactly where she was, facing a double team of Parks and Letty. She knew they were both back there, turn and go up strong, draw the foul. It's exactly what she did. Foul is now 3-3 with 2:30 to go. It's a 14-12 game. If Lakehead can keep going to the free throw line, this thing's going to stay close.
14-13 now the score is Valinga good on the first. 2.5 to go here. Alumni Hall, OUA West semifinal action. Brock and Windsor playing in the other one. Should Windsor come out victorious, they will host the winner of this game in an upset. If Brock's able to win, it could be the Mustangs hosting. It could be the Thunderwolves as they are the 3 seed.
I don't suspect Brock gets past Windsor, although Brock forced them to overtime earlier this year, but Windsor's one loss came against Mac, and Brock upset Mac. So when you look at the numbers and the scores, you see that there's an opportunity, but I just think that Windsor team is so good and so solid with Clemenson and Kovacevic. I just don't see anyone beating them, at least not Brock. Perhaps one of these two teams, but even then, it's going to be difficult. If anyone matches up against Windsor, though, if you're a Western Mustangs fan, it's the Western Mustangs because they have the big bodies to guard Clemenson and Kovacevic. So if you're a Western fan, you hold on to some hope there.
The one thing working in favor of those Badgers, however, Badgers an appropriate name as they love running that full court pressing action. There's Letty, left hand off the glass and good. And they are certainly a tough team to play against when the Brock Badgers, when they want to play pressure D for 40 minutes. Wanting to make things tough are the Thunderwolves, not giving any ground to these Mustangs. Valinga air ball, nice stretch pass, Parks, right side, terrific challenge by Valinga, giving up her body right there. Going after the ball, no intentional there.
That is a playoff basketball foul. That's something you do in a close game down the stretch in regulation, and this, folks, is what you do when someone's on the run. You have to make this basket as difficult to make as possible, and Valenga does that.
Terrific stretch pass there from the Mustangs. It looked like it was Self leading that pass out there, but Parks able to track it down. Unfortunately, could not gain any ground on the hard closing of Valinga, and she's subbed off as she was arrested following that little spill at the end. But Valinga bringing a real nice presence in the time that she's been on the court there for a fifth-year player. That's what you expect in the playoffs.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, how much of a luxury is it for head coach John Kreiner to have a player like Shannon Valenga come off the bench in her fifth year, provide 8 rebounds a game, provide gritty defense like that. That is the epitome of a sixth man if you are the Lakehead Thunderwolves. That is what every team wants coming off the bench.
Molden there caught with her hand in the cookie jar, going after the steal, trying to take a page out of the Lakehead defensive playbook there. That one going against Molden. It is a possession foul now. Both teams right on the edge of bonus territory, though. The next foul against either squad will put the other at the free throw line. Barry still in the ear of the officials right now. He couldn't believe that he didn't get the intentional foul against Parks right there. But I got to agree with you, Greg. That is playoff basketball. Their play was made on the ball. You got to let these girls figure things out for themselves.
Yeah, when you looked at it, we saw it twice on the replay, and clearly Valenga was going for the basketball. May even have got a piece of it. She had reached across the body so far. I think it was a great call by the official.
Here is Gordon. Looking for Nakamura. She's got it working against Parks. And is it just me, or have you noticed that Nakamura really likes using that right hand so far? The one time I've seen the ball touch her left hand, it was to pick it up real quick. Hopefully the Mustangs are seeing the same.
Well, I was going to say, if you saw it, hopefully the Mustangs saw it as well. I mean, you have to identify strengths and weaknesses of the opposition. Certainly Nakamura is a right-handed player.
Drury, high post entry, soft double team there. Letty playing her hard. Drury able to find Styles, pardon me. Working against Molden is Styles. She'll stop and pop. Splash it down. 18-16 the score now. Coming up on 1:10 to play. Molden here. Working against Styles. Anderson at the arc. And it looks like Sarah Gordon's going to get called on the hold right there as she just grabbed a piece of Lauren Parks. And if you're going to foul somebody on the Mustangs, Parks is the one you want to put to the line.
Yeah, Parks not one of the best free throw shooters on this team by any stretch. Shooting just 59.3% from the free throw line this regular season.
Parks, first one, no good. And Parks, one of those players you and I love talking about, in that she's 6 feet tall, has the skill set of a two guard, can create any shot she wants at any time. However, it just hasn't seemed to come together for her in her 5-year career. Flashes of brilliance, but a career marked by inconsistency.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there are times when you look at her and she's the best player on the floor at times, and then there are times where she is a non-factor. It would be so nice for her to come into her own throughout these playoffs and be something that the Western Mustangs can lean on down the stretch here.
And as you said earlier in the broadcast, Greg, certainly an X factor, because when she is on, she can be one of the toughest players to match up against in Ontario. Kelly Molden tipping that one out of bounds, as that was Styles trying to catch the Mustangs sleeping on the backdoor cut.
And there you see just the shade of a difference between a senior player like Caitlin Letty and Rondinelli, who was in there earlier and struggled guarding Drury. This time Letty almost creates the turnover because of some tough defense.
Gordon in and out on the three. Drury with the rebound. Letty, terrific D, and Parks comes in to clear the glass. Here comes Molden. Terrific job by Styles to slow down Molden and stop the Mustang break. Anderson curls with Letty. Letty left side, and Letty having herself a game.
Caitlin Letty has been arguably one of, if not the best player in the OUA in the second half, certainly from January on. She has come into her own, and she has found herself at Western.
Nakamura misses left side. Shot clocks are off. 16 seconds to go. Molden will set up the last possession for the Mustangs to try to expand on this 5-point lead. Anderson at the arc. Self working against Nakamura. Nakamura gets a hand on it. Self finds Parks up. Back iron no good. And at the buzzer, rebound corralled by Drury. But the Western Mustangs 21-16 in front here. OUA West semifinal action. We'll take a quick break, but come on back and join us for second quarter action here on Rogers TV. Welcome back to Alumni Hall. Second quarter action on the way. 21-16 the score here. The Mustangs over the visiting Lakehead Thunderwolves. And a first quarter that has seen a little bit of everything and a terrific pace played by both teams, but one we certainly feel favors the Western Mustangs. The Mustangs shooting a terrific 57% in that opening quarter, going 8 of 14. The Thunderwolves on the quarter, 5 of 17, just under 30%. You take a look at the stat leaders, and Caitlin Letty, as we mentioned there, Greg, having herself an opening quarter, 4 of 4 for 8 points in that first quarter.
4 more rebounds, too. That's tops on the team. Western out-rebounding Lakehead, 21-16. It's not by a lot, but it's by enough to get a 21-16 lead.
Here is Anderson. Possible player of the year in Ontario was setting up the offense. She now has it on the wing. There's Parks at the free throw line. She gets an angle, right side. Drop it in. Lauren Parks.
Such a double threat down low when Parks is on, and Caitlin Letty's having the game she is.
Tasia McKenna, post entry for Drury. Drury working against Letty. Double team comes. There's a steal by the Mustangs. Mallon and Williams combined for that one. Anderson working against McKenna. Looking for Parks inside. She'll work against Gordon on the wing. Backs her down. Nice step around there. No good. Gordon tips it out of bounds. Fresh shot clock for the Mustangs.
And there's a clear-cut example of the skill set of Lauren Parks. Able to drop step, get her seal, go up. She was short, but she followed a rebound. She's such a good player down low. I'm glad to see Western getting her involved early.
And Western maintains possession. Now, talking about getting involved early here, Greg, you look at this box score right now, and you see Amanda Anderson only no shots attempted there in that first quarter. Only 2 points, both coming from the free throw line. This is one of the best players around. certainly someone who, at this point, as we see Williams on the miss, this point, letting her teammates establish the pace early, and someone that we know will put her stamp on this game before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I saw her 2 weeks ago at Laureate. It was a similar first quarter, and then she ends up being one of the best players on the floor when all is said and done. She has the ability to put together a game's stats line in about 3 quarters or less. That's how good of a player Amanda Anderson is. And she does other things on the floor rather than score. She doesn't need to be putting the basketball in the bucket in order to be involved in the basketball game. She runs the floor, she plays defense, she's active on the board. She has 1 so far in the first. She can hit people for assists. Western now trying to break a press. They do, they get it in cleanly. And they're gonna set up in the half court. Letty on the high post, gives it up on a handoff to Rebecca Moss. That falls for a 3, and Western now up 26-16, a 10-point lead, their biggest of the game so far. Tasia McKenna kicks it out top to Lisa Stiles. Stiles drops it off down for Drury. That's an easy basket. Drury's not going to miss that, and give the assist to Lisa Stiles. Good job by Stiles to identify what was in front of her in the half court and find Drury wide open on the block. Turnover there by the Mustangs. Entry pass was intended for Letty. As McKenna runs it, another three-point try. This is no surprise. The three-pointers are raining down. That time Sarah Gordon missing. Not often that she does.
Both teams among the league leaders in Canada in terms of putting it up, as you mentioned. The Western Mustangs, #1 in the country in terms of three-point shooting percentage on the season. As a team, 37%. Not far behind are those Lakehead Thunderwolves, coming in at 34.4. Good for #7 in the CIS. Valinga back on the floor there for Lakehead. She had a nice impact in the early going, including that terrific hustle play on Parks' breakaway layup. We'll see if she's able to continue her assertiveness. On the wing, Stiles. Working against the rookie Williams. Here comes McKenna curling. Looking for Valinga inside, can't find her. The Mustangs into their zone right now, trying to be disruptive. Stiles to the middle, gets the shot up at the buzzer, no good. Anderson rebound. And looks like Sarah Mallon having a bit of an issue with the finger right now there on the sideline. Letting the trainer pull that one out for her. Looked like a little bit of a jam right there. She couldn't even look at it, just handed her finger over to the trainer, said, do what you got to do.
It's so funny. It seems like such a harmless injury when that ball comes down and jams you on the top of the finger, but I'm telling you, folks, it is excruciating if it hits just so on the top and tip of your finger. It is absolutely painful. You have to come off because your hand is indisposed until it's looked at. And that one looked really bad, as if it may have been dislocated or jammed to a point of having to have some work done on it by the trainer.
And we'll have to keep an eye on that, Sarah Mallon. When does she come back? Anderson with the ball, working against McKenna. There's Moss wide open at the arc. Buried the 3 as soon as she had the ball in her hands. Kreiner going to the table saying, I need a timeout. We can't let one of the better three-point shooters in the league get open at the arc like that. He's going to talk it over. And speaking of talk things over, let's have a visit now with Patrice.
Look at Western's last game. Western had beaten Lakehead 67-51 the night prior to their meeting on February the 20th. Nevertheless, Western ended up losing in the last game of their regular season with 84-51 as the final score to Lakehead the night of the February 20th game. The Mustangs were down 49-24 at halftime, and Lakehead dominated in every quarter, outscoring the Mustangs 26-6 in the first quarter. But despite the loss, fifth-year veteran Amanda Anderson was able to hit a personal milestone of 1,626 career total points, moving her into second place in the OUA record books. Anderson played a total of 36 minutes, netting 15 points, and Lauren Parks, London, Ontario native, added 13 points, and Rebecca Moss of Waterloo had 10 points on that night. Kevin?
Thank you very much, Patrice. And I tell you, Greg, 29-18 on the back of that latest Rebecca Moss three-pointer there. Mustangs taking a relatively commanding lead, 11 points here in the early going. And I got to tell you, the Mustangs seemingly firing on all cylinders right now. That terrific defense Lakehead had going for them early on, Mustangs seem to have found an answer.
Yeah, they found their own defense. That's been the difference. when Western is playing that zone, it's almost as if 6 Mustangs are on the floor. It has been absolutely suffocating. They've been boxing out and out, rebounding Lakehead and getting some points on the run. Lakehead had better score here because 11 points now is starting to be a lot in the first half to overcome against what is a very good Western team here.
Here is Valinga, quick turnaround. That's easy over Parks. Valinga and Parks matching up real well, both standing better than 6 feet tall, but Valinga the better on that one. Williams finds Anderson on the wing. Double team waiting for her on the baseline. Parks controls the loose ball. Skip pass to Self. Terrific ball rotation, but Valinga was waiting on Williams there. Here is Williams trying the left side. Throws it back court. 2 on the shot clock. Self has to launch. Can't find any rim there. Tough possession for the Mustangs, but everything that you want if you're wearing blue.
Well, you had just mentioned how their defense had kind of went away, and there it was coming back. A good suffocating half-court defense that runs the shot clock down to nothing and creates a turnover in their favor. That's the kind of defense Lakehead came into this game with, and then it kind of went away for about 4 to 6 minutes.
Tasia McKenna working against Anderson. Nakamura on the wing, one of those 3-point shooters that Lakehead features. McKenna, watched by Moss. McKenna will pull at the arc, just a little long. Scramble for the loose ball rebound. Anderson comes away with it. Anderson now, 9-point lead for the Mustangs, 6 minutes to play in the first half. Self looking like she has position inside. Mustangs can't find her. She'll take it up at the arc. And Self right side takes it right in on Valinga, and Valinga going for the swat will be called for the foul. Self to the line.
If you're the Lakehead Thunderwolves, you need to get Tasia McKenna into the scoring. She has been a non-factor so far as we take a look at Self getting hammered on the drive to the basket by Valinga. But again, there's Valinga making it very difficult to score an easy bucket down low. That's what you have to do in playoff basketball. You have to make these players second guess coming into the paint for an easy basket. You have to make it tough, and that's what Valinga's been doing off the bench.
And being a fifth-year player, and as you say, coming in off the bench, you know that the coach knows that you're smart enough to play with fouls, given the experience you have behind you, and he knows that given that you are 6-man on the team, perhaps the higher foul count later into the game isn't as crucial against you as it might be, say, against your starting pivot.
Exactly. She's not in there to score a lot of points. She's in there to commit the foul she's been committing and rebound the way she does. As I said, she averages more than 8 a game off the bench.
Here is Stiles surveying the defense. McKenna with the ball. Self finds her. Anderson closes on Stiles. Stiles wide open look. Anderson not there in time. Cut into that lead, 8-point margin for the Mustangs. Here comes Anderson. Anderson still having a relatively quiet ball game overall. Second half certainly seems to be her time, and when we're talking playoff basketball, you know it's just a matter of when, not if, Amanda Anderson gets herself involved. Moss again from 3, no good. Drury, terrific position to keep Letty off the boards.
Hey, by the same token, Tasia McKenna is not having an outstanding first half by any stretch, so both the players we were supposed to watch and we all thought we would be watching have been, I don't want to say non-factors, but they haven't been the best player on their respective teams.
Moss on that last rebound, real nice job getting aggressive on that one, and it looks like you're getting you're getting a call on Drury here, had a hand in the back. She's a little surprised and miffed at that call right there. She thought she was in a semifinal playoff game.
Yeah, that's a pretty weak call to be made in the playoffs against one of the better players in the league. That pass, it's almost like football. You want to say, well, was that a catchable pass? It really wasn't. It was kind of deflected out. It was a bad pass, and nonetheless, now Western gets a fresh shot clock. Drury has a foul on her. I mean, that is advantage Western all the way.
Moss from the elbow, too good.
And when you're given an advantage like that, you need to put down the basket. That's what they did to regain that 10-point lead.
4.5 minutes to play, and taking a look at that scoreboard, Greg, the foul count certainly jumping out right now. 3 on the visitors, none on the home team. Molden now, watching Bruni. Here is Stiles. McKenna with the screen. Watch for McKenna to pop to the arc. Terrific battle inside, and a little tit for tat here as Letty is whistled for the foul on the hold inside. And with that foul coming in, it looks like Coach Kreiner's going to call yet another timeout, organize the troops. And while he takes a moment to chalk things up, we're going to take a moment to have a visit with Danielle.
What Lakehead did last game to get here today. Tasia McKenna, as we mentioned earlier, had a huge game. She scored 26 points. 15 of those points were in the second half. What an outstanding effort from the senior point guard from Timberlake, Nova Scotia. And just take a look at those fourth quarter stats. What an effort, 18-6 in favor of the Thunderwolves. And that would be enough to end Laurier's season. Now, the win marked Lakehead's first postseason victory since 1999, and that would be head coach John Kreiner's first postseason victory with the team. Now, the Thunderwolves shot 27 of 71 from the field, 38%, and they held the Golden Hawks to 31.9% from the field. Kevin?
Thank you very much, Danielle. And talking about shooting percentage, certainly that stat going in the favor of the Western Mustangs right now. 33-23, 4 minutes, 20 seconds left to play in the opening half. And we've seen quite the shooting display here at Alumni Hall by both squads. The threes, as we said, raining all over the court.
Not a shocker when you have Western, the number 1 3-point shooting team, coming into this game, and number 7 in the country, Lakehead, as we see Lakehead bang down 3 of them here in a great highlight package put together by the guys in the truck. Just one example of how good these two teams are from beyond the arc.
Both teams love putting it up behind that arc there, both averaging 20-plus attempts per game. So certainly that is just a small sample of the number that we will be seeing over the course of this ball game. Lakehead with possession. Bruni to inbound, finds Stiles. Here is Bruni going left side, front iron, no good. Williams with the rebound, and she's jammed up there by Stiles. Going after the rookie, making sure she's being ball secure. Anderson now in the corner, Letty with good position, double team waiting for her. Moss from the top, takes it hard down the right side, and Becky Moss getting herself involved.
That is the third time this game we have seen a Western Mustang drive from 16 feet out from the top of the key, uncontested to the bucket. Lakehead has to do a better job collapsing in the middle. You cannot give up the paint that easily. The only player so far, Valenga off the bench, making it tough for Western to score.
Stiles bombs away, three-pointer. And the Mustangs, Greg, just to pick up on your point there, they seem to be doing a great job of getting their defender in the air, creating this penetration opportunity for themselves. But as you say, help side defense really not there for the Thunderwolves.
Non-existent.
Letty goes one-on-one, 6 on the clock, gets it up and down with that left hand. Caitlin Letty, double digits plus here this afternoon for the Mustangs.
She's got 3 years of eligibility left. How scary is that if you're the OUA opposition? Caitlin Letty has the potential to be one of the best post players in this league over the next 3 years.
The Mustangs seemingly never rebuild, they reload, and next year that'll certainly be the case as Parks and Anderson graduate the program, but they do get Jenny Vaughn, junior national team point guard, as we see Letty converting again on the inside. She'll be featured in that lineup next year, along with Vaughn, Self. Certainly Molden will be back to play again. Williams and Rondinelli continue to develop. Moss is still around. And I don't think anything official has been announced, but I feel confident in saying that the Mustangs will have one of the better recruits in Ontario joining them in the near future. Becky Williams clears the board, 39-26, coming up on 2 minutes to play in the opening half.
Got to go back to Letty. She's been absolutely dominant of late.
Letty trying to make something happen with the passing game. Moss, offensive rebound, tries to get it up. And good jam on the ball there. Good no call there. Mustangs will retain possession on the baseline. Parks coming back into the game for Western. Into the game for the Thunderwolves, Icy Kalkin.
If I'm head coach John Kreiner, I am making a defensive assignment change as we watch some tough battles down low by Rebecca Moss, beneficiary of that nice pass by Letty.
Parks trying the inside, no good. Hands on the ball by Drury again. She's looking a little gassed right now, though, as she's been playing a terrific first half. Stiles passes up the 3. Finds Kalkin. Swing to Nakamura. Gets past Letty. Right hand, and an offensive foul called on Nakamura.
I'm with head coach John Kreiner. He's got his palms up asking, what? And I agree. I didn't see anyone with position, and I really didn't see any players collide as we're going to take another look at it. Drive on the baseline by Nakamura. Who does she run into? That's not an offensive foul. That ball is long gone, and she is down on her feet before the contact is made. I agree with John Kreiner. No call on that, but the officials called it nonetheless.
Terrific heads-up play there by Kalkin. And a jump ball. Kelly Molden doing a great job hustling back and getting a hold of the ball right there. Officials will confer. Mustang possession showing on the floor. And the officials just conferring to make sure that something hadn't been missed by the scoring table. Terrific job, as always, by the minor officiating crew. Across the league, they don't get the recognition they deserve. I know we were talking about it before the game, and it is a thankless job, and they do a wonderful job of it.
Usually me not giving the thanks as a as a reporter for the newspaper in Guelph. It's usually me who has the complaints. So, yes, they do a good job for the most part. We seem to only recognize when they make a mistake, Kevin.
Kind of like coaching against officiating,
yep.
Isn't it? Kalkin surveying the D. Nothing brewing there. And quick look inside. Drury, nice position, and a terrific find by Stiles with a quick look.
I'm not sure that Caitlin Letty has to three-quarter that pass all the way because she's faster than Drury. She can actually give up a little space because she has time to recover.
Becky Williams left side looking for contact, and she is able to get the foul call. She will go to the line. 11-point lead for the Mustangs. 48-plus seconds to play here in the first half. Just a reminder, fans, don't go anywhere at halftime. We will feature coaches' interviews, analysis, and a special guest joining us live here at the broadcast table. Make sure you come on back. Join us at the half for more great Mustang action. And Greg, really, this first half, what more can you say than the Mustangs are really just imparting their will on the Thunderwolves for the most part of this game.
On both ends of the floor. I thought in the second quarter, Western's defense finally came around. They had been suffocating in the half court. I think that's been the difference. They have really made it difficult for Lakehead to score, and Western has been doing a better job rebounding, particularly on the defensive end.
41-28, the lead is 13. Tasia McKenna now working against the soft pressure of the Mustangs, and Anderson doesn't even care where the ball is right now. She's got her eyes locked squarely on the chest of McKenna. They've turned it into a 4-on-4 game out there.
50 feet away from the basket, and Amanda Anderson's face guarding Tasia McKenna.
You can tell when you are one of the most highly respected offensive players around the league when you've got the best player on the other team coming out and guarding you baseline to baseline. McKenna inbounds. Nakamura gets one up over Parks. 30 seconds to play. The lead 11 for the Mustangs. Here's Self up the left sideline. Williams now playing pitch and catch with Self. Rondinelli and Parks with the double. Self directing traffic, puts the ball in the hands of Anderson. She calls for the ball screen. Here's Rondinelli on the roll. Anderson dribbling through the traffic. Teardrop up, no good. Ripped away by Stiles. 4 seconds on the clock. Here's Kalkin. Unfortunately travels as she did a nice job pushing the pace. Self was looking to draw the charge, but with 0.3 seconds left, the Mustangs looking like they're just going to get a touch inbound here, and we'll get the whistle sending us to half. And thrown away by Parks. Kreiner is absolutely furious on the sideline. We're going to have a quick discussion here between the officials right now. Don't go anywhere, fans.
0.3 seconds, though. Not a lot of time to do anything with the basketball, although I don't blame Kreiner for trying.
We might have to play that one again. Take a look. This ball, the buzzer actually goes even before the ball hits McKenna's hands, and the clock cannot be started until the ball is touched by a player in bounds. Now Parks right here, she's got to be wondering, was it her or one of her teammates that missed the assignment there? Because boy, oh boy, could that have been a big momentum shift going into halftime.
She just threw it to a spot as if a player was supposed to cut there and catch, almost like a quarterback hitting a receiver. Instead, threw it into the hands of the Thunderwolves.
0.3 seconds left on the clock, 11 points the difference.
What they're trying to figure out now is where does the inbound occur? because the clock started too soon. I would think it's on the sideline.
High sideline just inside of half, which is about where Styles is setting up right now. The officials still figuring it out, though, as if they are resetting the play, they might even be determining proper possession right now.
The other thing is, I can't see them taking any time off the clock and dropping it down to .2 to make up the difference for it starting too soon. But
and Coach Barry getting the explanation in front of us here at the scorer's table. And we will sit back and watch these last 0.3 of a second.
If this was October, November, December, I probably wouldn't care. But when it's a playoff game, every 1/10 of a second, every possession matters.
Well, Coach Barry made it very clear as we did our broadcast together, the men's game earlier in the week. You got to throw the rest of the season out the window because all that ever matters in a playoff games is the 40 minutes on the clock. Here comes the inbound, quick inbound, and the Styles didn't even get back in bounds. The clock expires. Looks like we are now at the halftime break, and we will step away, take a quick break, but come on back and join us for halftime action and analysis here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Rogers TV. Joining me now is head coach of Lakehead, John Kreiner. Coach Kreiner, I know that wasn't the half you wanted to see your ladies do, but defensively, you guys look pretty sharp out there, forcing a lot of turnovers, keeping Amanda Anderson quiet. Are you content with the defensive effort so far?
We're not content. We gave up 51 points against Western last game. We're already at 41. We're not content with giving up over 50% shooting, and Leedy's really hurting us, and the points in the pen are the tail of this first half. We've got to contain their penetration. They're getting whatever they want, and they're going to whatever way they want to go, and then we're not rotating and stepping up to take charges, and we're not in a position to rotate to the post players, and they're finishing wide open layups. So we're not content with where we're at defensively, and we need to make some adjustments at halftime.
Any offensive adjustments that do you guys need to make? I know you probably want to get the ball to Tasia a little more and sort of spark that offense.
Well, definitely. We definitely need to get Tasia going, and we also need to get the ball moving more. I mean, when we got a little bit frustrated, we stopped moving the ball, and we're not getting the ball inside to Lindsay Jury either.
Okay, finally, I know you guys are capable of a second half comeback. We saw it last week against Laurier. What are you going to tell the ladies, and what are you going to execute in the second half to get things done?
Well, we're going to get back to the things that we talked about in the last two practices, and that is, defending, getting our energy out of defense, and getting scoring opportunities out of our defense. How we score is by getting turnovers, creating turnovers, stopping the other team, and creating that energy and turning it into offense.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
We're going to send it back now to Kevin and Greg. They have a very special guest with them. That's Coach Brad Campbell. Gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much, Danielle, and certainly it's our pleasure to welcome here to the broadcast booth head coach of the Mustang men's basketball program, Bradley Campbell. Brad, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
First off, congratulations on what overall was a well-played season. Certainly you and your guys suffered some very important graduations to the program coming into this year, but all told, finishing 12-10 on the season, 4th place in the league. Well done on the season to you, your coaching staff, and to the players.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was a very challenging year for us, obviously. Like you said and mentioned, we had heavy graduation of five of our top 7 players, basically, and we had a lot of contributions from different people, and we had a young team, and we'd some ups and downs and inconsistencies, which you're going to have with a young team, and unfortunately we had one of those inconsistencies this past Wednesday in our playoff game, and ended on a bit of a disappointing note, but we feel that we've got our core group returning, and we've got some key additions coming in, so we feel we're going to be very good again next year, and hopefully back competing for the national championship.
Now, you mentioned the disappointing note, certainly for our viewers that saw it at home, the loss to Laurier here at Alumni Hall on Wednesday evening in a game that certainly, as we were broadcasting it up here, we certainly said that uncharacteristic of your guys this season, as they did play their hearts out as they had all season. However, shooting just didn't seem to turn up that game for you. If you could, can you take us into the locker room after the game for us? What did you tell the guys after a performance where we know they gutted it out the full 40 minutes, however, it just didn't seem to click?
Well, we just, right from the outset, we were lacking something. I think we were lacking a little bit of passion. It's when it's playoff time, as we mentioned, every single possession is crucial, whether it be offensive or defensive, and you need to have that mentality that you're going to win every possession. And we were just lacking a little something that game from an emotion standpoint, from an energy standpoint, and I told our guys after the game, I don't dispute that we played hard and we wanted to win, but we were just lacking something. And what that really is, I'm going to be left to ponder until the season starts next year. So it was one of those situations, I think, too, where we got down early and we got discouraged. And Laurier did a fantastic job of getting up on us early and maybe having our guys question a little bit of what they were doing, and some shots weren't falling, and defensively we had lapses, and it all just seemed to snowball on us, and unfortunately we couldn't overcome it.
Brad, this year, particularly down the stretch, I thought injuries played a key role in either your success or failure. And a player who stood out is Andrew Wedemeyer. We called the game in Waterloo a couple weeks ago. It looked like a hip or a back injury, and then on Wednesday night he had his hand taped. Can you just elaborate on how hurt was he and what were the injuries, and, of course, how they affected your play on Wednesday night?
Well, I think first and foremost with Andy, we're just pleased if he can play, because over the course of his career, he's got a phone book. You can fill a phone book file of injuries that he's had. So whenever he can hit the floor, that's a good thing for us. But, yeah, I mean, Andy battled some injuries this year. He actually suffered a hand injury in the game on Wednesday. He jammed his thumb, which wasn't good for the second half. But overall, in the week beforehand, he had fallen on his tailbone, which was giving him some problems, and he was having some back issues that were running down his leg. Andy, I think, over the course of his career has hurt every part of his body, and he was just beat up. And when you're someone like us, who one of our goals is to have him touch the ball every single offensive possession, he had a lot of regular wear and tear through the season, and just Andy being Andy with some of the injury situations that he's had, he was feeling it a little bit at the end of the year. But I think really from a standpoint of did it affect him or not, I mean, we were probably as healthy as you're going to get at this point in the year. So it's not really an excuse, I don't think, that we had from an injury standpoint. Every team's beat up. We just had to fight through it. And, it's a situation where he was beat up, but everyone's beat up.
You mentioned it. He's a player that you want to touch the ball on just about every possession. How similar of a player is he to Keenan Jeppesen, someone who I thought maybe fit that role last year for you guys. Are they very similar players? We saw Keenan go to Mac and really make an impact, and Andy kind of stepped in and replaced Keenan here. Are they similar, and was it easy for you guys to make that transition?
Well, I think they're very similar in the respect that they're both very intelligent players, and they've got an outstanding feel for the game, and they do multiple things. They're very versatile. They're different in the respect that Andy, is I would probably say in the OUA West the most dominant post presence that we had in the league this year. Keenan is very good down low, but he is a little bit more. We played him more on the perimeter last year, and we went 3 big with Keenan. This year, we didn't really have that option, and Andy commands so much attention when you throw him the ball around the basket and in the paint that he can pass out for the double team. He's going to hurt you one-on-one, and he just had an outstanding season, and we're just lucky to have him back next year.
I want to talk, if we could, about one of those other players that I know you're really happy to have back next year and for a couple of years yet, Ryan Barbeau, one of the better point guards around, number 2 in the country in terms of assists on the season. We've talked about it a few times on our broadcast that Western, over the last couple of years, seems to have transformed into point guard U, where you've got the terrific lineage of the Grosel, Curtis, Barbeau, Angus waiting in the wings perhaps down the road. Perhaps could you take us behind the chalkboard for a minute? What does it seem to be about Western, about the way you guys have things set up that promotes such terrific point guard play?
Well, I think first and foremost from our perspective is if you're going to build a top-level program and try to be nationally competitive, you need a solid point guard first and foremost. And we were very lucky years ago, and I was involved in it quite heavily in the recruiting of Matt Curtis. And what we saw from Matt was a phenomenal leader. He's going to get out and defend, and he's going to make other people better. And while Matt was in his last few years, we were able to see those same qualities while he was in high school from Ryan Barbeau. And I think there's no fluke that the last 2 years we went to the national championship. We had both of those players on our team. So when you can get that high quality of guard who makes other people better around them, it's obviously going to translate to the rest of your players in your program. And we've just been really lucky to target some of these type of players out of high school and been able to get them here to Western. And I think, as you mentioned, going forward, hopefully it gets a little bit easier to show high school kids and players that, here's some of the lineage at point guard that we've had, and here's some of the tremendous things that they've done. And, you can do these kinds of things because we see that quality of player in you as well. So, and again, too, they're just 2 outstanding young men who are great guys off the floor and easy to get along with, and competitors. That's probably the biggest attribute from both of those 2 individuals, and especially Ryan, is they're tough mentally, and they hate to lose. And that's probably the best quality you can have in a point guard, is he just hates to lose.
I got to tell you, Brad, every descriptor you've laid on these guys is one that we've heard about yourself from your players, and we certainly want to thank you for all the hard work, energy you put into your squad this year, and for the terrific results we saw here on Rogers TV all season. We can't wait to see you back in front of the cameras, see the boys out there again next season. Thanks so much for joining us here at Rogers at the Half.
Thanks a lot to Rogers and covering our games and all the work that you do. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Brad. And we're going to throw things out now to one of the hardest working hosts in the business, Patrice, standing by with assistant coach of the Mustangs, Matt Spencer.
Thanks so much, Kevin. As you said, I'm here with the assistant coach of your Western Mustangs, Matt Spencer. Matt, you played Lakehead twice last weekend. They're a pretty familiar team for you guys, right?
Yeah, they showed us 2 different looks. Friday night last week, we put it to them okay, and then certainly Saturday night they showed us a completely different team. So yeah, 3 in a row for us.
With that being said, again, you lost 1 game, you won 1 game. How did you prepare for tonight's game?
Well, what we tried to do is we understood that in order for them to get a home playoff game, they had to win last Saturday's game. So they pulled out all the stops, which I think may have shown a little bit of what they were trying to do. They kind of tipped their hand. At the same time, we held some stuff back, which we exposed in the first half. So that was the main idea, is to try to get a win last Saturday. It didn't work out, but to try to do so without showing them everything in our arsenal.
Now, Western finished 2nd place in the OUA West overall, obviously quite an accomplishment. It's not over yet, though. What do you have to do in the second half to maintain dominance?
Well, we need to continue to rebound the ball. That's the big thing. We want to make sure that we have the same number of possessions that they have throughout the game. So we have to limit turnovers. We have to make sure we rebound the basketball. And offensively, we did a pretty good job of mixing it up. We scored some from the inside, some from the outside. Caitlin Leddy was awesome. But anytime Amanda Anderson has 2 points at the half, look out.
How important is it for your leaders, Amanda Anderson, Caitlin Leddy, you said, Jacqueline Self, how important is it for them to really step up in a game of this intensity?
It's tremendously important, but not only for the leaders. If you look at the stats from the first half, Rebecca Moss was the one who really stood out. We put in a couple of plays for her this week, and man, she ran them exceptionally well in the first half, and that's exactly what you need. You need everybody to step their game up without trying to step outside of your role.
What would have been your main advice for the girls in the dressing room?
Stay composed. We know for sure at some point they're going to make adjustments and they're going to make a run. Basketball is always a game of runs. So for sure they're going to make those two things. They're going to make an adjustment and a run, and we have to weather that storm and come out the other side still okay.
Last quick mention, Malin, how is she feeling? Will she be playing in the next half?
Yeah, she dislocated her thumb. We taped it up. She's got ice on it right now, some ibuprofen in her. And if you don't know Sarah Mallon, you only need to know one thing. She's as tough as nails. So if she can go, whether it's for 1 minute or 20, she'll give us everything she has.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt. Good luck in the second half. We'll throw things back over to Kevin and Greg.
Thank you very much, Patrice. And taking a look at the halftime stats right now, certainly lots jumping off the page.
Oh, man.
But I got to tell you, the one biggest thing for me, and I know you've got it circled on your page too, 2 players, each having played 19 minutes for their respective squads. Each a team leader, 2 points between them, both belonging to Amanda Anderson. Of course, I'm talking about Anderson and McKenna.
Tasia McKenna 0 for 3 from the field. Amanda Anderson 0 for 2. Her only 2 points coming from the free throw line. But you just heard Matt Spencer mention it. Look out, just because she only has 2.5 doesn't mean she can't finish with 22. And the same can be said for Tasia McKenna. But if you're the Lakehead Thunderwolves, you need to find a way to rebound the basketball on the offensive end. The Western Mustangs have 16 defensive rebounds, which means they're limiting the Lakehead Thunderwolves' second chance points. I think that is a key stat, and it's been really key in Western building up their 11-point lead.
Well, the other big part of it right there, as we see a foul called here against the Western Mustangs. That's going against Leddy right there. As she was involved here, we see the big push.
And that should be an unsporting foul. There is no basketball involved. It's away from the play, and that's what head coach John Kreiner is trying to argue right now. And now, head coach Steph Berry of the Western Mustangs said the foul was called on 6 blue, which is incorrect. It was clearly a foul on Leddy, and they pointed at the Western bench when they made the call. He may have said blue, but he meant white.
Certainly lots of contact on every screen you see in the OUA, but that one going above and beyond. One other quick stat note I want to touch on is Molden's breaking away. Points in the paint in that opening half, as we see 2 more added here by Caitlin Leddy. In the first half alone, it was 20-6 in favor of the Western Mustangs, scoring inside the painted area. That's a stat that Lakehead certainly has to control if they are to get back in this ballgame. Gordon exchanging points in the paint right there with Western.
And that's what Lakehead needs to do, second chance points. Go in, get the offensive rebound, and score.
We talked about it, key to victory for the Mustangs, control the rebounds. They've done so. Lakehead not able to chip away with only those 3 that you talked about offensively in the first half. Caitlin Leddy, 1-on-1. And that ball last touched by Leddy, according to the baseline official. But we'll have a quick conference here. Looks like the guys will sort it out on the baseline. 7 seconds, still on the shot.
Caitlin Leddy has 14 points, leads all scorers. She was 6 for 6 from the field in the first half, and then knocked down the first shot she took in the second half. 7 for 7 before that missed shot right there.
6 of 6. You've got to feed the fire right now if you're the Mustangs. Parks goes up, no good from the left side. Tasia McKenna breaking down for the Thunderwolves. Looking for Drury inside, tried a little no-look. She had Gordon open on the wing, trying to use her eyes to move the defenders.
Now's not the time to get fancy and try no-look passes. You are down by 11 points. Play smart, run the offense.
McKenna will inbound wide open. Styles elects not to shoot the three. Certainly something that was not the case in the first half, as they put up, the Lakehead Thunderwolves did 14 three-point attempts in that opening half. McKenna now poking and prodding. Parks comes away with a steal. 1-on-2 with 3 Mustangs trailing. Puts it up right hand, Lauren Parks.
Lauren Parks, we said it in the first half, she can do everything. There's a clear example of her playing some really good defense and stealing the ball from one of the best point guards in the OUA, and then running the floor and finishing. How good of a player is that?
6 feet, long, strong, and fast. Lauren Parks playing the X-Factor role. Here's Jackie Self, and the Mustangs just blowing the doors off right now, coming out with authority out of that locker room break. Kreiner thought might be calling a timeout there. He elects rather to sit on the bench and see how his girls respond to this early run by the Mustangs.
Well, he's going to put in Shannon Valenga. She's ready to check in. I would have started her at the half. She was one of the better players in the first half. I think she did a good job defensively, and she's one of the better rebounders. I think she has to be out there the remainder of this game.
The Thunderwolves right now looking out of sorts. Here is Anderson on the wing. A little bump on the sideline right there. It will be Mustang possession as the foul goes against McKenna. And here we take a look at Lauren Parks breaking down.
What great body control to read the defense and then get her body to the left side of the defender and finish. And then another fast break by the Western Mustangs. This team is on the run, up 15 now.
And stealing those guard-to-guard passes up top. That's what Lakehead was doing to the Mustangs early on in the ball game. So the Mustangs giving a little payback right now. Moss from the corner, rotation to Molden. Molden out to Williams. She likes it with the feet set. She puts it down. 50-32. The Mustangs starting to run away with things, but we must be careful. There is a lot of basketball to play yet. However, Big Mo is wearing purple. Here is Gordon working against the rookie Williams. Swings to Drury. Drury finds Valenga. She likes it from 12 feet. That's good from the baseline, and there she is, the 6th man for the Thunderwolves. And I got to agree with you, Greg, if she leaves the court, it's got to be for a quick rest and get her back on. She's been one of the best players tonight in blue. Anderson, left side, right hand. It's good. Anderson getting herself involved now in the second half as the Mustangs keep that 18-point margin.
Anderson's first 2 points from the field. She had 2 from the free throw line. She's now involved, but she's been tasked with having to shut down Tasia McKenna, and she's done a great job. Let's not let her lack of offense overshadow her defense.
And just watch Anderson. You see her at the top of your screen. She doesn't care what's happening behind her right now. Lakehead in with a pair. She is just staring at the E in the middle of Tasia McKenna's chest right now. And the foul there on the ball, Sarah Gordon called for the hold. Mustang possession on the baseline.
And this is why Amanda Anderson is an MVP candidate, if not the MVP in my eyes. How great is it? What kind of character does it show for a player to sacrifice what she has done all year, which is score the basketball, to play face-up defense against Tasia McKenna? It doesn't matter what she does offensively. It's all defense right now.
We're going to take just a quick break here. We're going to send things over to Danielle with a look at what's happening on the men's side out of town.
A look at what's going on in OUA men's basketball playoff action today. Waterloo is taking on Lakehead later this evening at 7 p.m. York is visiting Carleton at 8 o'clock. The Queens Golden Gales have traveled down the 401 to Ottawa. They'll be playing at 8 o'clock. And Laurier is facing Windsor. So all that action later on this evening. Kevin?
Thank you so much, Danielle. And Greg, just to get back to your point there about Amanda Anderson, she is really doing everything asked of her and being a fifth-year player. We've talked about it with Shannon Valenga here and what she's bringing off the bench as a senior player for the Thunderwolves. Anderson, we know she's going to be on the court as long as she's vertical, and she is just doing an outstanding job of doing whatever the team needs.
Well, and that is why she is a leader. That is why she's an MVP candidate. These two players, Amanda Anderson and Shannon Valenga, in their fifth years, know their role. They respect their coaches. They understand the game. They want to win the basketball game, most importantly. And if that means Amanda Anderson simply must play defense for 40 minutes, that's what she's going to do. And that is a testament to her character.
Character aplenty in purple and white, and certainly the blue as well, as we are seeing a lot of players that are just gutting out this playoff ball game, including Caitlin Leddy working against Valinga.
It's easy to not care about offense when you have a player like Caitlin Leddy dumping in points left, right, and center.
And going up high, sacrificing the body, Caitlin Leddy. Kreiner incensed right now. He's got to be careful.
That is the second charge Caitlin Leddy has taken today. She is doing it on both ends of the floor. Caitlin Leddy stares down head coach John Kreiner as she walks past, as we take a second look at Caitlin Leddy getting her feet planted on the block and clearly taking a charge on Lisa Stiles.
Williams now high post for Leddy. She's got a wide open spin. She takes it. Nice job by Drury to close things off. Williams now left side. Quick step. Becky Williams, she'll go to the free throw line. Now, Greg, I got to tell you, 18 points the difference right now, with possibly 2 more coming off the hands of Williams. Not something necessarily that we expected to have quite this difference coming into the ball game, especially when you look at how closely these two teams stack up head to head.
No, you and I talked about it earlier. We thought that we would be around the 80-point mark. I jokingly, only half-jokingly said. These two teams I thought would be a close game as we take a look at how they match up against each other in a head-to-head.
On the season, Western averaging 72-plus points. Lakehead closely behind, 4 points behind in the average. But you look at the defense, Lakehead only given up just under 62 a game right now. Mustangs 56 already here.
The Mustangs clearly dominating this game on both ends of the floor. They have come to play. Everyone's doing what they've been asked to do by head coach Steph Barry. And he mentioned it. They had the advantage last Saturday by not having to tip their hat to the Lakehead Thunderwolves, and they've exploited a lot of things, as Leddy almost took another charge.
5 on the shot clock. McKenna's going to look to pull the 3. Front iron, no good. Rebound controlled by Leddy, and Lakehead trying to get in there and strip that ball away. They've got to create some extra possessions if they're going to cut into this 20-point lead. Mustangs settling things down. That's Anderson resetting the offense. High screen looking to be set by Leddy. She sets the feet, rubs off Leddy, and Anderson just dribbles around the entire Lakehead defense, earning herself a trip to the line. And Kreiner now trying to stand up for his team, looking for the illegal screen call. He is getting very vocal out there on that sideline, as one would expect, given the magnitude of this game.
That foul, I believe, is going to go against Shannon Valenga. It's her third.
Not only that, the 5th team foul in the quarter, just under 5 minutes to play right now, and that puts the Mustangs at the line with every foul for the rest of this quarter. Anderson now at the line. Anderson averaged 17 points a game against Lakehead in the regular season, but as we've talked about numerous times, regular season stats do go out the window this time of year. 40 minutes are all that matter in the playoffs.
14:55 matters now down the stretch, and Western trying to put this game out of reach.
Anderson doing her job, 2 of 2 at the line, 22 the difference now. Gordon finds McKenna, and the Mustangs not relenting, working that zone defense that they love to play here, matching up on the perimeter. Valinga, quick turnaround over Parks, and she's done exceedingly well every time that she's had Parks on her back today.
Yeah, great game for Valenga off the bench, both defensively and offensively.
Anderson now to Parks. Parks looking for help. Valinga doing a nice job using her length to get in the way. Williams, 3-pointer from the sideline. Rookie out of London making herself felt in this game.
It's her second 3-pointer of the second half. And as we mentioned, everybody doing it except for Amanda Anderson takes the pressure off her and gets everybody else involved.
Here comes Williams now. Coach Barry getting in the ear of his team with a 23-point lead. He wants patience and composure.
Well, the clock now is the 6th teammate on the floor for the Western Mustangs.
And an ill-advised pass there, perhaps. Williams able to corral it. 5 on the shot clock. What a spin move. Baseline, Becky Williams. Can't wait to see that one again. That was just outstanding footwork.
Becky Williams making an impression here in the postseason. How excited are you if you're a Western Mustangs backer heading into next season?
And it looks like this one going against the Mustangs. That'll put Lakehead to the line. I got to tell you, Greg, I've been spoiled last couple of years. My wife, Cheryl, having coached Becky Williams in her club days, a little bit of the high school days at London's Oak Ridge, along with head coach Marilyn Duhame, and you see that spin move from the corner. What a treat that is. Got to tell you, though, she is capable of putting a team on her back at points and creating any shot she wants on the floor. She was a special player there for that London Ramblers team that won the provincial championship a couple of years ago, along with teammate Melissa Rondinelli, who's in the game now for the Mustangs. And boy, were they some fun to watch.
What made that play, though, was that it was a broken play. She saved the play. Amanda Anderson, bad pass into the corner where you don't want it. She goes and chases it down and then makes something out of nothing. And not just something incredible. A beautiful spin move and an easy basket. Great play by Williams.
And Lakehead really not cutting much into the lead. Hammered is Anderson right there. And you can always tell when the ref feels a little guilty, as he was explaining the call and running up the court right there. McKenna pulls one up, no good. Terrific fight underneath right now, and perhaps a quick whistle to make up for the missed call on Anderson. Not often you see one of the better players in the league not be on the beneficiary end of a call.
But here's where I have the problem in this. And now you have saddled Valenga with 4 fouls. That is not fair to Shannon Valenga. I'm not saying that's why the officials made it, but if that is the case, and it's always in the back of the mind, and the fans often believe that there are make-up calls, it's not fair to Shannon Valenga to be saddled with that foul because of a mistake by another official.
Valenga playing just a fantastic game, but as you say, through no fault of her own, and certainly not her coach's choice, but she is to the bench now with those 4 fouls. 3:04 left to play in the third quarter. Melissa Rondinelli at the line as the Mustangs are in the penalty.
Boy, the thing, it's just stacking up against Lakehead higher and higher. They're now in the penalty, so Western will shoot every time there's a foul for the next 3 minutes and 4 seconds. So you can't really stop the clock without being penalized.
26 points the difference. We thought threes were coming fast and furious early on. I have a feeling we're about to see a few more right now. Drop inside there for Drury. She kicks it out. That's Bruni at the arc. Little up fake. Anderson not falling for that one. Stiles coming hard from the right side. Looking for contact. No whistle. Parks with the rebound. They've got a 5-on-3 developing here. Parks coast to coast. Left hand. X Factor Lauren Parks having a ball game.
We've seen Lauren Parks now run the floor finish, left finish, right. That's how complete a player she is.
Becky Williams guarding the rookie Bruni. And there is Stiles, right side, drop it in. 67-41, 2:15 to play, trapped by the Thunderwolves. Here's Self, that's not a player you want to make a mistake on, as she finds Rondinelli inside. Rondinelli creeps it in over the rim. Williams is waiting for the 3 in the corner. Lots of trouble brewing here if you are the Lakehead Thunderwolves, as you can't seem to get anything to go your way right now.
Trying to press just to get back into this basketball game, trying to shoot threes. If they work, it's great. If they don't, it buries you. That's the problem. Down the stretch when you're trying to get back into a basketball game, and if you press, you can quickly put yourself out of it if the other team can break it easily, which the Western Mustangs have proven they can do.
Interesting substitution here for the Mustangs. Coming in, number 21, Stephanie Lundstrom, seeing her first action of the ball game as the Mustangs vary their lineup a little bit to give some players some rest coming down the stretch. I'll be surprised to see Molden in the ball game much longer, to be honest. I know she just got back out there, but given that she is less than 100%, I know the game is far from over. However, the Mustangs certainly are the better team out there right now and have been for the last several minutes. Molden might take advantage and put herself on the shelf here for the fourth quarter. Mustangs ahead by 28, and they are working the clock right now. 7 on the shot clock. Parks just inside the arc. Parks throwing daggers. Kreiner left just to ask who missed the assignment there. Bruni now working against Williams. 30 points the difference. Minute 12 to go in the third quarter. This has the feeling of the men's game from Wednesday night, I'll tell you, but certainly the scoreboard reversed as the home side having themselves a day and seemingly can do no wrong.
It has come from everybody. Amanda Anderson has done a terrific defensive job on Tasia McKenna, and her teammates have done such a balanced job at scoring. It has made her job so much easier. She can focus on Tasia McKenna and not worry about running the offense or being the offense.
Mustangs with yet another Lakehead turnover. Williams with the screen rejects it from Rondinelli. She's just too quick. Right side, Becky Williams. What a second half. What a third quarter.
Becky Williams is the future of this Mustangs backcourt, if not the team.
Bruni, left hand, air ball. Last touch by the Mustangs. Lakehead possession. And how scary is it if you are a Mustang fan? We talked about it earlier. Not projecting starting lineups, of course. However, you look at Williams, Self, Molden, Vaughn, star recruits perhaps, Letty. Just an unbelievable lineup that the Mustangs might be able to put on the court next year. You can see why Coach Barry wants to make sure they get a first taste of the Nationals pie this year, so that he's ready to really come back with a vengeance with next year's squad.
Yeah, no harm in giving these young players some playing time in the playoffs. I don't think they, it's tough to say, but I don't think they expect to be a national championship contender, but it certainly couldn't hurt to give them all the exposure and all the experience this year heading into next.
Williams with a step back comes up short. Molden and Lundstrom combine on the rebound. And that is the quarter expiring right there as everybody in the gym lost track of the shot clock and the game clock there. We're going to take a quick break right now, but come on back and join us for fourth quarter action here on Rogers TV. So are these girls, I tell you. They make it easy. I really enjoyed that interview with Campbell, actually. I thought that came off really nice. Oh, Campbell much better, yeah.
Campbell was more timely. Go with Letty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
6. Is this with Patrice?
Caitlin Letty's missed one shot. Just one right now.
Jeez.
Another one.
Neil, are we going to do both of them at the same time, the East and West? Separate? Okay.
Welcome back, fourth quarter semifinal action here from Alumni Hall. The Western Mustangs in front by 32, and Caitlin Letty having herself a ball game for these Western Mustangs.
Take a look at her doing everything, literally scoring, taking a charge. She is 8 for 9 from the field, folks, with 16 points. Caitlin Letty, clearly the player of the game through 3 quarters for the Western Mustangs.
We'll give her that status as the player of the game through 3, but perhaps the player of the game in the third quarter alone with 12 points in the 10 minutes of play. Becky Williams, the freshman out of London, Oak Ridge. I see her high school coach and club coach, Marilyn Duhame, here in the stands. And boy, oh boy, is she being treated to a performance by her former star pupil.
Becky Williams is 2 for 3 from the three-point line. She had both those in the third quarter. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. 2 rebounds, 14 points on the day. Becky Williams making a case for starting point guard next year.
And there is Anderson's terrific defense. Great hustle by Gordon. Unfortunately, it's Mustangs coming away with it. There's Lundstrom going up, no good. Rebound to Self. She'll kick it out. The Mustangs can settle things down.
There's the poise of Amanda Anderson. She had a wide open shot. It was a bit of a distance, but stopped, set up, going to use the shot clock now, kill the time in the fourth quarter.
And what a great battle that was between Anderson and McKenna, but Moss throwing the dagger, and you mentioned it earlier in the game there, Greg. The Mustangs can really get it from anywhere. Moss, no points in that third quarter. She opens up the fourth with a tray.
Opens it up with a tray, 3 for 4 from the three-point line now. mentioned it at the beginning of the game. The three-point ball was going to be key for both teams. Who hits them, who defends them.
Drury with a nice steal there, but Self playing Johnny on the spot as Letty and Drury are down behind the play. A little pat on the back from Drury to Letty, as that's just two warriors that are really going at it with each other in the post today, both with the ultimate of respect for each other.
Yeah, and Drury just offered up a high five to Caitlin Letty, saying good battle. Take a look here at Amanda Anderson on the drive, knocked down hard to the ground, and on her way to the free throw line.
Anderson only 6 points in the ball game, but how about this for a balanced attack by the Mustangs? Letty 16, Parks 11, Moss 10 through three quarters, give her 13 now, Williams 14. You're going to have 5-6 players in double digits for the Mustangs by the end of this game. Sarah Gordon 14 leads the Thunderwolves, 10 for Lisa Stiles in the supporting role. Here is McKenna passing it off to Gordon. McKenna, an absolute non-factor, but all the credit for that goes to Amanda Anderson, who drew shutdown duty and was happy to do it. Gordon now looking for McKenna. Hand off at the arc. McKenna looking for space against Anderson. Nothing there. Drury now rotates the ball. At the arc is Stiles. Gets the three. Kreiner happy with that. Likes what he sees. Applauding his girls from the sideline. And the ball tipped out of bounds, Western possession.
This is how concerned the Western Mustangs were about Tasia McKenna coming into this basketball game. They have Amanda Anderson face guarding her all over the floor. Typically when you're in a man-to-man defense, you want to sag on the weak side for that help side defense. Not in this case. If Tasia's on the far side, Amanda Anderson is over there and right on top of her.
Jackie Self, no good by Caitlin Letty. Offensive rebound. Draws the contact, and she's going to the line for a pair. Caitlin Letty, the workhorse for the Mustangs today.
Caitlin Letty, you can't say enough about this individual performance by Caitlin Letty. She also has 6 rebounds on the day. Give her another one there as we take another look at the play. Caitlin Letty, just a powerful move to try and get a step and go up and draw the foul, and you see Sarah Gordon not happy with herself.
There you see Valinga wearing number 22 for the Thunderwolves stepping in the lane. She's playing with 4 fouls. Gordon now with 4 as well. Valinga there tries to get her hands on the rebound. It goes to Gordon. Finds McKenna now, who will break. Lakehead will have to look for the first good look. Stiles gets one, no good. Rebound corralled by Gordon. She just throws it back into the court. Corralled there by Letty, and Coach Barry calling for patience. 79, 41, 7.5 to play in the fourth quarter. The Mustangs in complete control. There's Letty leaking to the basket. Valinga can only play token defense there. She gets the hand straight up, and it is good enough. McKenna breaking back for the Thunderwolves. She'll take the three. No good there. Valinga getting inside, dropping the 2. Shannon Valinga. We've enjoyed calling her name today. Give her 10 points on the ball game.
In hindsight, if you're John Kreiner, you may go back and look at this tape and wonder if you should have started Shannon Valinga.
Here is Letty with the ball as we hear Coach Kreiner getting a timeout in at the table, getting ready to set up things for one last charge. And there is the whistle. Looks like we're getting a foul called against Lakehead, giving the Mustangs possession on the sideline. And with that, Coach Kreiner will get his timeout right here. And with that, we are going to take a visit with Patrice.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Taking a look at the men's Western playoff tree with the upset over McMaster on Wednesday, the Waterloo Warriors advance to the OUA West semifinal and travel to Thunder Bay, Ontario to take on the number 8 nationally ranked Lakehead Thunderwolves tonight at 7 p.m. On another note, after defeating Western here at Alumni Hall this past Wednesday, the Laurier Golden Hawks advanced to the OUA West semifinals to take on the Windsor Lancers tonight at 8 p.m. Kevin?
Thank you very much, Patrice. And continuing to take a look over that third quarter box score, player that came to mind just watching her over the last minute or two of play there, Greg, someone that we know can quietly be very, very productive. That's Jackie Self for the Mustangs. Quietly now, she does have 8 points in the ball game, 4 boards, 3 assists. There's that complete stat line that we've talked about.
She's just the perfect complementary player. She doesn't overpower anyone. She doesn't demand the ball go through her on every possession. She just goes out and plays a complete game, both offensively and defensively. I think she's a great role player and a great complementary player to this Western Mustangs team.
Much the same can be said about Sarah Gordon, doing a little bit of everything for Lakehead today, leading the team in scoring. In fact, give her 5 rebounds on the afternoon, leading the way in assists for the Thunderwolves. 3 players with 3 apiece, including McKenna Stiles Nakamura, leading the way assist-wise for the Mustangs on the game. No surprise there. Kelly Molden with 4. But what would be surprising, as we've said a couple of times now, will Molden find herself back in the game, particularly with Williams playing so well. Inside, ball knocked away, and that is the Thunderwolves coming away with it. That was Chelsea Mikuliak, second-year player out of Thunder Bay. Inside, Valinga, off the glass, it's good. Valinga just having a whale of a ball game, as you'd expect for a fifth-year player, not wanting to go quietly into that good night of retirement from OUA basketball. Williams now on the wing, McKenna all over her. Swing the ball, Anderson sideline, stop and pop from the Coffin corner. Valinga with the rebound. 6 minutes, 10 seconds to play. McKenna stutter step at the arc. That is Ross up top. And that is good. Thunderwolves trying to do their best to keep things interesting. However, 32 the difference. This game certainly all but over. 5 minutes, 48 seconds to play. Anderson now finds Parks in the corner. Parks trying to dribble through the double team. Got to give it to Lakehead, Greg. They are playing hard whistle to whistle right now. Nobody giving an inch out there, despite what the disparity on the scoreboard.
I was thinking the same thing, and that's it for Shannon Valinga. I believe that foul is going to be on her, and if we are correct on our box score, that is her 5th.
And the officials now getting that information relayed from the scorer's table. And the substitution ready at the table there. That was Nakamura coming in for the Thunderwolves as Shannon Valinga getting a nice round of applause here from the Lakehead Thunderwolves faithful who made their way down, and also from her teammates as they greet her at the bench. We're going to take just a quick break here and take a visit at the Eastern playoff matchups with Danielle.
Kevin, let's take a look at the men's Eastern playoffs. With a win on Wednesday, the York Lions now move on to face the basketball powerhouse Carleton Ravens, who are ranked number 2. That game is tonight in Ottawa, while the Toronto Varsity Blues season comes to an abrupt end. The Queens Golden Gales held off the Ryerson Rams in other divisional playoff matchup and will also travel to Ottawa to take on the number 5 Ottawa GGs. Kevin?
Thank you very much, Danielle. And we just want to take a quick moment to tip the cap to Shannon Valinga, that 5th-year standout for the Lakehead Thunderwolves. We've been so impressed with her this ball game, and a tough way to end your career going out with 5 fouls in a playoff ball game. But something tells me Shannon herself might not be overly surprised that that's the way it comes to an end. She is a lot of heart and hustle that we've seen out there on the court. Combine that with a fairly positive skill set for her inside. She's a player that will certainly be missed by the Thunderwolves program.
Coming off the bench today, just a terrific performance by Shannon Valinga. She was great defensively, contributed offensively. I thought she epitomized what a 6th man is for this team. And I think, like I said earlier, in hindsight, you wonder if perhaps she should have got a start, considering the way Lakehead matches up against the Western Mustangs with Parks and Letty on the floor. You could have countered with Drury and Valinga, but John Kreiner elected not to do that. I'm not saying that's the reason they're down 83-47, but things may have been different at certain points in the basketball game if Valinga had maybe started or played more.
And we'll make it 49 with Ross converting the layup there. Again, the Thunderwolves competing whistle to whistle despite the scoreboard. Anderson finds Parks. Parks, another one of those graduating players. Her career will end at some point in the coming weeks. She's hoping that it ends sometime around March 14th in Hamilton, host of the CIS Nationals this year. However, we would guess that it is a road trip to Windsor coming up for these Mustangs here if the Windsor Lancers are indeed victorious later this evening against the Brock Badgers down in Windsor. Certainly that could be a game that poses some trouble for these Mustangs. Inside, the conversion good right there by Nikuliak. And she will go to the line for the chance at the three-point play. Self and Moss coming back in. Barry telling his players right there as they're getting ready to sub in, girls, you better stay focused. he does not want to see sloppy play coming down the trail here, as he knows that they are already starting to think about the next game.
Well, you have to wonder if head coach Steph Barry's going to ask one of his assistants or managers to run out and start his car, because you have to figure he's heading on down the 401 the moment this game ends to go check out the Windsor game. Brock at Windsor at 8 p.m. tonight, I believe it is.
And for those of you at home wanting to get a glimpse as to who the Mustangs will be playing, I believe that Windsor will have that game broadcast over the internet on SSN Canada. Certainly a terrific boost to the CIS community having games broadcast for those who cannot make the trip. So the weather cooperates. Certainly I agree with you, Steph Barry heading on down the road to see them live in person. However, have to wait to see what happens. There's a 3 by McKenna, no good. Moss with the rebound. You look at this Thunderwolves roster, though, Greg, and a couple other senior players on the team, not sure of their plans following this season, but Self taking it hard to the basket, drop it down for a pair. Fourth-year players include Tasia McKenna, Lisa Stiles, Sarah Gordon, Jackie Nakamura. You got to wonder how much is left in each of their tanks. Are they primed for yet another run at the OUA playoffs, or are they all set with their academic studies and ready to call it a career? We'll have to wait and see. And there again, Ross inside and one opportunity. This is not leaving a good taste in Coach Barry's mouth.
No, that's the thing, right? The game is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, over. However, you want your girls to remain focused and play playoff basketball and not fall into bad habits, as we see Caitlin Letty ready to check back in for the Western Mustangs.
Now, some at home might say, well, wait a minute, the outcome is relatively certain at this point, less than 4 minutes to play, and 29 points the difference. Why does Coach Barry have three of his, essentially two starters out, sixth man, seventh man as well? Why are they out there right now? Well, he is getting ready to play those Lancers. His team has to be sharp, and he is making sure in the playoffs you take no prisoners. You play your hard right to the end. You score as many as you can, and you got to get ready for the next game.
And the other thing, too, is he's substituting quite freely here in the fourth. So if he's got some second-unit players out there, he will bring those reserves off and tell them something that they can learn from and then put them back out there. So expect a lot of substitutions here in the fourth. And now a timeout coming by head coach Steph Barry.
Coach Barry will not let his players rest on their laurels or on the scoreboard right now, as he expects nothing but the best. He will get that timeout in just a moment. Williams with the ball at the arc, showing great patience there. She understands the situation. Williams throws it away, though. McKenna getting her hand on that one. And Lakehead putting together a nice little run rate here, putting it all on the floor for their graduating players and their head coach, John Greiner, who certainly had a fine season with this ball club. Rooney trying to make something happen. She's got it at the arc. Middle of the defense, drops one in right there for the Kuliak, but the Mustangs able to corral the loose ball. Jackie Self running the point forward spot for the Mustangs. Lets Williams get set in the corner. Self going all the way, earning herself a trip to the free throw line, and Coach Barry cancels his timeout with that as he's starting to like a little more what he's seeing.
Yeah, wow. Hey, who doesn't like what they see out of Jacqueline Self? Incredible explosiveness to get from the elbow to the bucket in one dribble. It's a play we often see men do, not to compare or disparage the women's game, but it's a greater distance when the players are shorter and maybe perhaps a little bit less lanky, but Self just explodes from the corner of that key to the bucket.
Self, a very athletic player, and as you say, does a great job of keeping the ball well out in front of her on that penetration, yet still maintaining control, which is where oftentimes you see the disparity in terms of how many it takes for the better players to get to the rack in terms of dribbles. How many dribbles does it take for them to get in close? And the fewer the better, obviously, but you must maintain control, and Self doing a nice job of that. And I got to be honest, surprised to see Molden back into the game.
Yeah, so am I. I don't think I'd take the chance if I were head coach Steph Barry. You may as well keep her out and rest her and get her healthy back to 100%. But you must have a reason for it. Perhaps Molden wants to get out there and test it to see what she can do, what the limits are.
And you hear about it all the time. There's a nice drive by Bruni, able to convert there. Hear about it all the time in the lead up to the Super Bowl, of course. The idea of keeping players sharp versus keeping them rested and getting them healthy. obviously Coach Barry going for the keep my players sharp mentality right now, as Amanda Anderson getting ready to check back in as she'll close out this ball game in what is likely to be the last home game of her decorated Mustang career. Letty tries the up and under, called for the travel as that ball's knocked away. And Anderson indeed will come back out here for the Mustangs. I'd expect to see Parks out there as well shortly, given that she will be completing her home Mustang career with this ball game, unless, of course, there is an upset of Brock over Windsor later tonight, which we can all hope for if we're Purple fans. Bruni now working against Anderson. Anderson keeping her to one half of the court. Nice job there, playing hard right to the bitter end. 84-56 the difference right now. Jordan, ball on the wing, working against Moss. Takes it middle, throws up a prayer, no good. Williams clears the board, triple teamed on the baseline. She's just trying to throw it off a Lakehead Thunderwolf. She does. 4 seconds now to get the ball over half.
How about Becky Williams?
She is a player with a terrific skill set, either at the 1 or 2 guard position. Shake and bake, can hit the 3, can create her own shot anywhere on the court. You cannot replace an Amanda Anderson, but with Vaughn and Williams coming into the backcourt next year, both playing big roles for these Mustangs, certainly the combination of the two will give you a lot of scoring, which they will miss from Anderson. Molden securing the loose ball there. The Lakehead Thunderwolves trapping everywhere, trying to get extra possessions and collapse this 28-point difference. Minute 25 left to play. Again, the outcome is certain, but the Thunderwolves not giving an inch. Terrific testament to the heart and soul of this team as they play hard whistle to whistle here at Alumni Hall.
Okay, if I'm head coach Steph Barry, I take Caitlin Letty out of this game. First chance I get. She's getting frustrated. She's going to do something that she's going to regret, or she's going to get overly aggressive on one end of the floor or the other and perhaps put herself in position to be injured. Just get her out, calm her down, tell her how great of a game she's played, because she clearly has. Move on and get ready for Windsor.
Letty at the line right now. As you say, she's just been electric from the field. Field goal percentage coming into the game, one of the better ones in Ontario, as she was hitting at a 53% clip. And this ballgame through 3 quarters, only having missed a single shot. Of course, we're talking percentages. There she goes and boinks one off the back iron on the free throw attempt. She has just played just a beautiful game for these Mustangs, as has the majority of the lineup, though. They've had it from every position on the court. Anderson now watching Bruni. Coming up on the final minute of play here at Alumni Hall in the 2009-2010 basketball season. Men's team is finished for the year. The women with this win will play in the OUA West Final coming up later this week. Location to be determined. Likely Windsor if they look to defend their top ranking against the Brock Badgers later tonight. Should the upset occur, the final will take place here at Alumni Hall. And Lauren Parks is subbed back onto the court for the Mustangs for this last 58 seconds as she gets to likely close out her home career for the purple and white. Mustangs just want to take care of the ball, tick off these last 50 seconds. Parks now gives herself a little space. She'll hand off to Molden. They'll just run the shot clock down, look for the high ball screen at the end. Parks coming up to set one for Molden. And Parks called for the illegal screen there. The referees certainly doing their job right to the end.
If it's a foul in the first minute, it's a foul in the last minute. I don't mind that. You know, it's funny, as a former player, there's nothing more frustrating than looking up at the scoreboard that the game is over and the other team is pressing you. You just want to go home. You just want to get it over with. But by the same token, you've been on the other side of the coin and you've been the one pressing, so you understand why they're doing it. It's just such a strange situation down that final minute to be on either side of the team, and I've been on both sides.
26 the difference. Lakehead with possession. Ross up, no good. Parks with the rebound. Shot clocks are off. 18 seconds to play. Parks wanting to get one more on the stat line. No good there. Lakehead clears. Both teams playing hard till the final buzzer. 10 seconds now. Inside. Falcon, no good. Out of bounds. Possession to the Thunderwolves. 5.2 on the clock.
Well, if you're the Western Mustangs, you're riding into that OUA semifinal, that OUA West final, with quite the momentum and quite the confidence.
Amanda Anderson, Lauren Parks, the two fifth-year Mustangs on the court right now. As we see Bruni from the corner puts it up. No good. Rebound to Lauren Parks. She will dribble out the shot clock. That is the ball game. The Western Mustangs advance to the OUA West Women's Final.
Tremendous balanced attack by the Western Mustangs. I have to wonder how Brock or Windsor, whoever it is, prepares for this team in looking at this game tape. Who do you key on?
We're going to take a quick break, but come on back and we'll wrap things up. Final score, Mustangs 84, Lakehead Thunderwolves 58. Come on back and join us here on Rogers TV. Setting up for volleyball, so if you're shooting us, you might want to do it from the top. You want a long analysis? Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We get one more.
Welcome back to Alumni Hall. We're going to send things back over to Kevin and Greg for some final game analysis. Gentlemen?
Well, thank you very much, Danielle. Greg, what a terrific ball game if you're a fan of the purple and white. But if you are a fan of the white and blue, certainly nothing to be too disappointed about as your girls competed right till the final buzzer.
Yeah, give the Lakehead Thunderwolves credit. They fought right until the final whistle. And as I said, as a former player, it's frustrating to be out there in that fourth quarter. But by the same token, you have to respect the way the Lakehead Thunderwolves went out in the fourth quarter, playing right until the final whistle. I have no problem with that. It was a gritty effort in the fourth. I mean, the Western Mustangs, however, just simply overpowered them at every position on the floor.
Well, you mentioned it, and the Mustangs got scoring from everybody today, whether it was Letty, Williams, Moss, everybody contributing to this ball game. I know we got a couple of highlights that we can take a look at because, boy, were there lots to choose from today.
Caitlin Letty is clearly one of the players of the game. You could give it to just about anyone as we take a look at here, dominating down on the block on the inside, always getting position, always sealing off her defender. She went off for 8 for 10 shooting for 17 points. An incredible game by Caitlin Letty. She also added 9 rebounds. That's just 1 rebound shy of a double-double.
Becky Williams, the impact freshman out of London, we've been talking about her, especially in that third quarter when she went off for 12 points. Exceptional game for her.
Great game, 14 points, 4 of 6 shooting, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. What impressed me, though, was her quickness. She is absolutely explosive with the basketball. She gets from point A to point B in no time flat, has incredible footwork. We saw her spin move down in the corner, saved a broken play, and turned it into 2 points. Becky Williams is the future point guard, if not the future offense of this Western Mustangs team, if you ask me.
And you talk about the future, it's certainly somebody joining her next year in that lineup. Rebecca Moss will still be around. Boy, did she have a game. And it seemed that when Williams was going off, Moss stepped back, allowed Williams to score that, to fill that scoring void. And when Williams took a break, it was Moss all over again.
Yeah, what I liked about the team was that they identified who had the hot hand. And I think that's key as we take a look at some of the big shots by Moss. When someone is on fire or someone is hot, you need to continually feed them and force the other team to take them out of the play. And I think that's why we saw Letty go on her run, Moss go on her run, Becky Williams went on her runs. Western did a nice job at identifying who the hot hand was and continued to feed them the basketball. And as a result, you got 5 players in double digits today for the Western Mustangs. And as I said before we went to break, I don't know how you identify who to key on if you are Windsor or Brock, whoever wins that game later on this afternoon, this evening. When you look at this game tape, who is the most dangerous threat? It's usually Amanda Anderson, but when you look at Anderson's line, she finished with 8 points. She had 2, both from the free throw line in the first half. As we mentioned, though, defensively, that was her job today, to shut down Tasia McKenna, and she did that.
Tasia McKenna not getting anything done in terms of the score sheet. 0 of 8 in the ball game. No points for the star point guard from Lakehead. Tip of the cap absolutely to Amanda Anderson. But when you're talking Anderson, you have to mention, of course, possibly her last game played here at Alumni Hall. The same can be said for Lauren Parks, the other graduating senior for the Western Mustangs. And a real big tip of the cap to those two for all the memorable moments they've given the fans here at Alumni Hall over their 5-year careers. We wish them the best of luck as they look to face likely Windsor in the next couple of days. But the future of the program certainly shining bright for these Western Mustangs. We talked about it. You've got Jenny Vaughn coming into the lineup next year. Becky Williams in the backcourt. Self is coming in for a full year. Moss is back. Letty's back. Coach Barry really pushing, as you mentioned, probably not expecting to really compete and make a lot of noise at the national level this year, but boy, do they ever want to get there, give these players some experience. As Coach Barry knows, he is building for bigger and bigger things in the years to come.
Yeah, and I think that's key, to allow these girls a taste of playoff action, and I think that's why this weekend, or excuse me, today was so important for the Western Mustangs, to give Becky Williams a taste, to give Caitlin Letty, who's only in her second year, a transfer. She has only used up 2 years of eligibility, to give them a taste of the postseason, because Letty didn't get a full taste of it at Guelph. She certainly wouldn't have got it there this year as Guelph missed the playoffs. So great advantage to those younger players for Western to build for next season.
Well, this 2009-2010 Western women's basketball season certainly has been a treat, and we've been treated to many great moments here on Rogers TV. A personal thank you to all the color commentators that we've had the pleasure of working with this year. Certainly, Greg, thank you so much for coming in and joining us once again. Terrific job. As always, thank you to Neil Johnson and everybody in the truck for all their wonderful work over the course of the season. All our camera crew, sound, lights, you name it. Everybody here at Rogers TV always does a terrific job. But for the final thank yous and a final wrap-up, we're going to throw things over one last time to Patrice.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And Danielle, it really was quite a game for Western today. They really stepped it up after the loss to Lakehead this past Saturday. They really did step it up, and they really deserve the win they got tonight.
Absolutely, Patrice. Western was absolutely dominating out there on the court today. They win by a huge 26 points. The game final again for you is 84-58. Thunderwolves done for the season as Western advances to that OUA West Conference final game. They will be playing either Brock or Windsor. We're not quite sure yet, as that game will set for later on this evening.
And I'd like to thank again Kevin Gordon and Greg Layson for their call on tonight's game, along with our production crew here at Rogers and our producer Neil Johnson. I'm Patrice Whiffen for Danielle Nezel. Thanks for tuning in here on Rogers TV.